Hey, creative commuter. I just sent out an email that says a pretty simple message in it. It says, have more fun. That has really been on my heart and on my mind the past few weeks. In fact, I actually set an intention for February that to have more fun. That's my intention for February. I know that sometimes intentions seem very big and serious, and I probably try to make them too big and serious. But you know what? I was like, you know what I need, honestly, is just to have more fun. And I don't know if that resonates with you, but I feel like all of 2020 was so heavy. And it's like, oh my gosh, we just need to like shake it off a little bit and just have a little bit more fun. And speaking of fun, I actually want to read a review that I found on my podcast from Hello Kara that put a little pep in my step when I read it. So thank you, Hello Kara. She says, love this. This is a perfect listen for any artist. I've been listening while painting holiday commissions, and it's the perfect vibe for showing up to complete my creative work. Highly recommend. Thank you, Kara. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to leave a review. She also left me a really nice Instagram message. She has beautiful, beautiful art. So check her out on Instagram. Hello, Kara. And thank you for taking the time to listen and write a review. Reviews honestly help me understand what you're enjoying about the podcast, maybe even what you're not enjoying about the content of the podcast. So it would mean a ton to me if you would go and leave a review. And heck, I might even read it right here on the podcast. So thank you so much. And so, okay, about having more fun. Silliness is actually, this might sound silly, but it is one of my core values. It honestly is. It's one of my values because I love goofy shit. I do. I do. And it's an honestly important aspect of my life, just like any other value might be an important aspect of your life. And when I don't get enough of it, I feel really off balance. I feel weird. I feel down. And everyone around me starts to come down with me because I'm being too serious and I'm not having a good time. It's really important for me to mindfully actually put silliness into my life. And speaking of which, we're going to do something today that might feel a little bit silly, but I think it's really, really, really important, whether silliness is one of your core values or not. What we're doing today is something that is really important. And even though it might feel a little bit weird, hear me out on this. Today, we are going to give ourselves permission to be creative. That's what we're going to do, and I'll explain why. You know, when you were a kid, what was one of your very, very favorite things to do? This is one of my favorite questions to ask people. What was one of your favorite things to do? Was it finger painting, dancing, playing in the mud, building forts, playing with your grandma's pots and pans? I loved to play with my grandma's yarn. We would make like big yarn mazes, and then we would like have to go through the maze. I'm sure it drove her crazy, but that was one of the things I loved to do. So for you, when asked that question, when you were a kid, what was one of your favorite things to do? What was that for you? What was that thing? You know, I also loved lip syncing movies or songs from movies. My little sister and I used to gather all the neighborhood kids and we would pick a song from a movie, often a Disney movie, because they're so fun to act out. But we would practice and we'd practice and we'd practice. And I remember performing Prince Ali from Aladdin in front of my parents and our neighbors' parents and my siblings. We gathered quite a crowd to do this. And we had worked so hard to get all of our moves just right. And we acted it out and we were so proud. We were like, oh, like the culmination of this awesome performance. And then the response that we got from our audience was less than emphatic. You know, I still remember that moment, and little things like that can stick with us. It's silly and it's no one's fault. And I'm sure our performance was probably really questionable at best. It probably was not any good, but who knows why we didn't get the cheering hoots and hollers that we had expected. But like some nugget of that response really stuck with me. And I've carried it around unnecessarily for too long. So think about one of those things that you really enjoyed doing as a kid. And did you ever have a moment like that? Is there a moment like that that has stuck with you in some way? How many little moments of that have we had in our life where we tried something and we thought it was really good, and then we didn't get the response or the result that we might have expected? And when we were kids, a lot of times it was something that we really enjoyed doing, and then we got this response, and it kind of like, ooh, we get a little, I guess what you would call a trigger, but it's like something just kind of sticks with you about that. It happens all the time. It's totally normal. And sometimes that happens and we totally let it roll off of our backs and we probably never think another thing of it. And other times we hold on to it. And the sad and scary thing is, though, that we really often don't even know that we're holding on to it at all until it comes up sometime later, or until you're listening to this podcast right now and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that I was holding on to that feeling. It's really, really hard to recognize this feeling that we might be holding on to. It's almost like trying to see the back of your head. We always talked about this when I was a hairdresser. People would say, man, I sure wish I could see the back of my head. It would look as good as when you styled it. But what we need is to see the back of our head is something to reflect it back to us, is somebody to help us to see, or something to help us see. And that's what coaching and therapy and honest open friendships are for, is to help reflect those things back to us, or listening to a podcast that can help reflect something back. And so that you say, oh, that's actually been coming up for me and I didn't realize it, and maybe I'm being held back from doing something that I might enjoy. I can't help, I certainly can't help uncover all of those things that you might be holding on to. I can't uncover nearly any of the stuff that I might be holding on to. I need some help with those things, but all those unintentional little digs at your creative little heart, the flippant remarks that struck harder than somebody might have intended to, the feeling that you're not good enough, that you're designing or you're writing or teaching or card making, or your ability to sew or invent something or to cook, that it's not good enough. Sometimes those things can dig, and we don't always realize how much they might have dug and how much they might have stopped us from doing something that we might really enjoy doing, or might have stopped our own belief in our creativity. That's a big one. So I can't uncover all of this for you, but what I can do today is give you permission to try. And actually, I'm giving you permission to give yourself permission to try the thing that you want to do. Whatever that thing is that you want to do, that thing that you might be a little scared of, that thing that you think you might suck at, that you admire in other people, that you see others doing, and you're curious about it, but you're feeling a little bit uncertain. You look at it and you think, maybe that's something I might like to do. Today, we are going to give yourself permission to do maybe something that feels a little bit extra, that feels a little frivolous or silly, and you don't want to dedicate your time to it because you're like, I have more important things to do. We all have those things. I know that you have to have at least one of those things. And today, you are going to give yourself permission to try it. And I know it's going to feel goofy and it might feel weird. And you're going to be like, Jen has finally lost her entire can of beans. I'm probably going to feel like I lost my entire can of beans when I re-listen to this episode. But I know that you need to do this. And I know that I needed to do it the first time I did it, and I need to do it again. So here in a moment, what we are going to do is write yourself a creativity permission slip. Now, because this is a podcast, we're actually not going to write it. We're going to speak it into existence together, or write it into your mind, whatever way you want to do this. If you're on a subway or something, you might not want to speak it out loud. People might think that you've lost your whole can of beans. But what this creativity permission slip is going to do is give you the freedom to allow yourself to try a creative thing, just to try something, just to try it. Because no matter how creative you think you are capable of more of it. You are. I totally, totally believe this. And I believe that if you truly buy into this concept of giving yourself permission to try something, that you're opening the door and you're permitting yourself to step through it, and it will give you the courage to unleash some really surprising things that you might not expect. So write this creativity permission slip, your oath to yourself that will allow yourself to become the magical, sparkly, creative unicorn person that you were born to be. You are going to get so much out of this. And if you don't, you can be like, Jenna's lost her damn mind. I don't even care. So are you ready? We are going to, here in just a second, you are going to repeat after me everything that I say. Repeat after me. No kidding. Okay, here we go. I, insert your name, like actually say it out loud. I, name. Give myself permission to be creative. I give myself permission to try. I give myself permission to fail. I deserve to take time to do what is fun for me. What I do doesn't have to be perfect, because I find joy in the process of doing it. I am smart. I am capable. I am good. I am creative. Okay, now sign your name, mentally sign your name and give it a seal of approval. Give it that mental seal of approval, because you, my friend, are a sparkly unicorn of a creative human being. And this permission slip is going to do more for you than you might expect. It's giving you permission to be creative. It's giving you permission to fail. It's giving you permission to try something without that fear of failure. You know, most of us have stopped trying things. We're scared of not doing things perfectly. We're so damn scared of failure. But failure is where we learn. It's where you learn whether you actually enjoyed something or not. It's where you learn whether you're actually good at something or not. It's where we learn things. It's key to us succeeding, because it's where we start to figure out the things that we like doing. But we're so scared of it. We are so dang scared of it. And it's this permission slip gives you that permission to do it. Even just saying it out loud. If you need to go back and re-listen and do it again, please do. It's so important to allow ourselves to try things and experience joy, because it happens in the doing. And as adults, we just don't take enough time to do the things that we're curious about and that we might want to try. And I personally, I'm so passionate about this because I struggle with finding joy in the process. I struggle with prioritizing having fun, even though it's so important to me to do it, because there's so many things that feel more important, that feel like they deserve more time and more priority. But what we forget is that when we're having fun, doing things that we enjoy, that's when the priorities become easier, because we're having a good time doing them. So I'm so excited for you to have written this creativity permission slip today. I hope it does everything for you that I think that it will. Come back and listen to this episode again if it's something that you need. And I so look forward to hearing what you think about this episode. So thank you for listening. I hope that you have a wonderful week, whatever day you are listening to this. Enjoy the rest of your week and go out there and be your amazing creative self. Thank you so much. Bye.